now listening to Lower Road Radio.
Hey, welcome one and all to the #1 podcast, winter, spring, and fall. Talking sports for the thrill of it all. Hey, talking life, but we're killing it all. Jason and Dan with the master plan. These are dangerous men with the mic in the hand. Huh? Bonafide winners everywhere that we go. You're a part of the team.
Lower Radio.
Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. What? Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. Yeah. Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. Bonafide winners everywhere that we go. You're a part of the team.
Lower Radio.
Let's get it. What?
At Tanagra Win the Walls, Fell, this is Dan Owings coming at you another time this morning for Lower Road Radio with my co-host, as always, Jason. How you doing today?
I had a slight issue with the coffee.
I'm not drinking it yet,
No.
so I'm going to wait till you say whatever you.
I mean, I've already
about
drank
ready to
it.
say.
So
Well, I'm still going to wait until you say the thing that you're going to say.
okay, so this thermos will hold about a pot of coffee, almost perfectly. Mm-hmm. And my mother-in-law is staying with us, so she might watch this, and I just think it's kind of funny. I'm not
Sure.
necessarily calling her out
If
for
what
it.
you say causes her to not come to
Listen,
your house
not
anymore,
my fault.
Yeah.
But I made a pot of coffee because I was going to pour it in there,
Sure.
and then I was going to make a second pot of coffee as I left the house for the house.
What a guy.
Listen, I'm going to make 2 pots of coffee.
Uh-huh.
One for the show,
Uh-huh.
one for the house.
Yeah.
So I go in the kitchen and I make the pot of coffee for the show.
Okay.
I come in the living room, I sit down. It's going to take 8 minutes,
Sure.
maybe 10.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sitting, I'm going through my phone, going through some pre-show prep,
As you do.
as I do. And she's been sleeping on the couch. She comes out of the kitchen with a cup full of coffee. And I know it's not done yet. So
Oh, no.
that's the thing.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm going to say.
I know
so,
what you're
like,
gonna say,
You can sneak the pot.
You listen. Yeah,
Sneaking the pot is...
it's a time-honored tradition.
Yes, I love sneaking in the pot. The problem is it's the strongest coffee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which then
Weakens the rest of the coffee. That's right. So if you sneak the pot, you get a nice strong cup of coffee, but the rest is weak.
So I'm drinking coffee that's been sneaked?
Well, it's been sneaked. And so then what I did was I went ahead and brewed another pot of coffee to top it off.
Okay.
So it's gonna be good.
I'm going to judge your coffee.
Okay. It's a little hot. It's like wine testing.
The smell, first of all, I mean, smells like gas station coffee.
It's not gas station coffee. I did it at my house.
Tastes like the cow got into an onion patch.
Correct.
It's all right. It's a cup of coffee.
It's Panera breakfast blend, but it's brewed heavy.
So this morning, well, for Christmas, my wife and I combined our resources, cashes that we got, and we bought a Nespresso machine for the house.
Ooh.
One of so I have one for the office, but it's like this very stripped down, smallest mini version. I got a slightly better one, and then with it we got a foaming cream thing. You know what I mean? It foams up the cream. So really been enjoying that, and I gave your daughter a double shot of espresso this morning, so she should be awake.
She didn't look awake.
Well, she was dead this morning. Like literally, there was no pulse.
You revived her.
We called the EMT. They came in.
Clear.
Clear. Like, I'm sorry. Call it. You know, it's
Time of death,
7:59. I was like, okay, well, I'll try to make some coffee.
Yeah.
Well, I think about what
Plug
to do.
your nose. Poured it down her throat.
So, but I'm really liking the Nespresso. Stella, what do you think? Is it pretty good? Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
What'd you pay for it?
The machine itself was 25% off. I think normally it was 150.
Just tell me what you paid for it.
Well, because we got a bunch of different things. So
$100.
We spent $200.
How much is if I went to go buy
just the machine?
Yes.
You could buy one for $100.
Okay,
probably.
that's my question.
Yeah.
So, how or what's the process? Do you have to get special coffee to put into it?
You got to buy their pods.
No, see, that's what I don't like.
Here's the cool thing about this one. See, my machine in the office here, it's just you just buy the pods and put it in. This one, it's a circular thing, and then there's a lip around the bottom of it, and it has a barcode on it. So every single coffee gets brewed a little bit differently because of the kind of coffee it is. And so when you put it in the machine, it reads the barcode on the bottom of the pod
It knows
to know
what to do.
how to brew it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's really good. And the one that we bought will make a 3 cup of coffee thing too. So you put the carafe underneath it and it'll fill up 3 cups of coffee worth, which for Eric and I ends up being about 2 cups of coffee because it's like, you drink a bigger cup.
Yeah.
But I really have been enjoying it
Okay.
a lot. Probably been drinking a little too much caffeine, but
I was going to say, this is not a paper filter. This is a screen mesh filter.
I could tell.
Okay. I figured you'd be able to, but just to clear the water, clear the air.
As it were. So I've been reading this book on habits.
Yes.
Apparently, habits are kind of a big deal, Jason.
The 7 effective habits for a highly functional person or something like that?
The name of this book, if you want to know, I got it from the library.
Yeah.
It is called...
I've read 1 or 2 of those.
Library books?
Uh-huh.
It's called...
Danny the Dinosaur is the last one I read.
It's called The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business.
Let me see the picture, the
the
cover.
top.
Yeah, I've never read that.
So The Power of Habit, it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. And there are a few things.
I had... Okay. Say what you're going to say. I heard something.
Just tell me what you heard.
I'm trying to remember exactly. A thought is the ancestor of an action.
Wow.
That is profound.
Somebody was high when they said that.
No, it's true.
Bro, I just had a thought, something I'm going to do later. And that thought is like an ancestor to the thing that I'm going to do.
Yeah. Oh. No, your action, something that you do today, it didn't just
Where's the
happen.
handles for that? I mean, there's nothing you can do with that, really.
No, absolutely. So Mother Teresa said,
Mother Teresa.
thoughts
Overrated.
become words, words become actions, actions become habits.
Really?
Yeah. To do something over and over and over is a habit.
What's
It's
your
habit
best
forming.
habit and what's your worst habit?
That's a good question. I don't know.
You're a habitual person.
I do. Yeah, I am. I do the same things over and over and over and over.
Yes.
I can't help it. Most of it is because of my dad.
You're more that way than I am.
Yeah.
Like our dad has a lot of habits. Like the
Yes.
way he parks the car,
Which I did this morning.
which my son did at our last gathering.
Yes, that was pretty
Last
funny.
time we all got together, Levi
so-
parked
yeah.
Explain how Levi parked.
Okay, so listen, there's two places that Dad could have parked had the driveway been empty.
Uh-huh.
I was there before Levi. I took spot number 1.
Yeah.
Spot number 1 was all the way back. First of all, I backed in, but all the way back and all the way over to the side.
Right. So nobody's going to park in front of you and you can slide right out.
Nobody's going to park in front of me. I can slide out, and
Yeah.
I'm not blocking anybody else.
Yeah.
It's basically, and you don't have to walk far to the house. It's the perfect spot.
Yeah.
If that spot's full, there's only one other spot to park.
Yeah.
And it's by the road.
As close to the road as possible,
Yes.
pointing out.
Yes. Easy access in and out.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to block. You're not blocking anybody.
On the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, the grass was frozen. The ground is hard. It was.
I pulled up because he got there before I did.
God, what's Dad doing? Wait, that's my
And I was like,
how's
why
Dad
did-
driving my car?
I know. That was my first thought was, Dad must have parked that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because it was exactly like he would have parked it. I
Yeah.
thought Levi probably pulled in and then Dad wanted to rearrange,
Right.
where everybody was parked. And so he did that or something
Yeah.
for Levi. And it's like, no, Levi, apparently
It's in the DNA.
It skips a generation. And Levi just parked there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So, yeah,
Of my kids, which one do you think will inherit that?
Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think he already has a little bit.
Yeah. I did not get it. And Michaela takes after me. I mean, we fly by the seat of our pants.
Just like whatever.
Every day is a
Yeah.
new day with new possibilities. So, yeah, Dad is very habitual. I mean, Dad likes a regimen, very much.
Yeah. I mean, so like on a Saturday morning, I'm going to do the same thing every Saturday morning. I'm going to wake up probably around 6:30.
Yeah.
I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to make a pot of coffee. I'm going to bring that cup of coffee into the living room, sit down, and turn on English Premier Soccer.
Yeah.
I do that every Saturday,
Yeah.
most Sundays.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
my bedtime routine is not always the same.
No.
No, and it's largely depending upon how tired I am.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to stay awake longer than I should.
So one of the things they said about habits is that belief is actually important, because you can mentally assent to a habit being a good thing to do, but eventually something is going to come in that turns everything sideways, and you're going to be thrown off of your course, and only belief in this is the way to do it. Like you're convinced.
Oh, yeah.
And the example they gave was Tony Dungy. And they said Tony Dungy comes into the Buccaneers, the like all-time worst NFL franchise.
Yeah.
Like they're just habitually awful. They're the worst.
Right.
And he comes in his first year or two, his varied success. But what he focused on more than anything else, and apparently he had applied for like 5 other NFL jobs, and they had turned him down. He gave his pitch. What are you going to do? And he would say, all I'm going to do is I'm going to change their habits. I'm going to change the little things that they're going to do. We're going to shrink the playbook to make it smaller, and we're just going to get them focused on this is what you do when this happens. And that get to the point where everything, you never have to think when you're on the football field. You never have to think, well, what do I have to do?
Right.
Every decision is already made. And so eventually he instilled that culture, and he got him a place where it worked. But if you'll remember, every time the Buccaneers, when Tony Dungy was their coach, would get to the championship to get to the Super Bowl, they lost. So they kept on folding. And he said what happened was that when the pressure mounted and was like, this is super important, they reverted back to their own ways. They didn't, and what he would always say is belief is the thing,
Right.
Well, then he gets to the Colts, and it's the same situation. I think the first 2 years that he was there, they didn't quite get over the hump.
Right.
And somewhere in that time of his first or second year, tragically, his son died.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but
Yeah.
his son died. It was really sad, and all of his players like completely bought into Tony Dungy. I mean, they watched the way he carried himself through that, and they completely bought in. And that was the year that they just even though the circumstances were heavy or whatever would make them want to revert back, they stuck to it,
Right.
And of course they ended up winning. And so what they say is with habits, like let's say your habit is I'm going to wake up every morning, I'm going to run, or I'm going to eat this or not eat that or whatever. Eventually something's going to happen in your life that's going to like throw everything off course. And do you still are you still convinced? And so the whole thing about habits, this is what was fascinating, is that there is a habit loop, which is cue, routine, reward. And in order to develop a good habit, you need a good reward. So they put this monkey in this room. You got a problem with monkeys? You think you're better than a monkey?
A little bit, yeah. Maybe not by a lot, but
Well, either way,
I just think it's like, okay, so they figured all this like science. So what they do is they put this monkey in a room.
they put a monkey in a room,
I know, but
Jason, and then they inserted something into his brain that could read the response when he would get excited about something.
Okay.
Right? And so then they had this blackberry juice.
I think you could tell just by looking at the monkey. Is the monkey excited or not? Yeah. Why do you have to put something in his
brain? They had this
brain?
blackberry juice coming out of a tube,
Yeah.
which this monkey, his name was Julio. He loves blackberry juice. I mean, big fan of blackberry juice. And they have this
Is it
little
native to his
lever.
home?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They have this little lever that he could pull,
Yeah.
right? And they have a screen in front of him that shows different shapes and colors.
Yeah.
Squiggly lines and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Well, what they've trained him to do is that when a specific set of shapes and colors show up, if he pulls the lever right then he'll get blackberry juice.
Right.
Right. And so they're monitoring his brain this whole time with like a line graph.
Right.
And when he figures this out, the moment he tastes the blackberry juice, there's this spike.
Yeah.
Right. In that like pleasure center of his brain. Okay.
They weren't just measuring his blood glucose.
No, they weren't.
Blood sugar.
No, and this is where it gets interesting. So he tastes the blackberry juice, and there's a spike, right? And this happens for a while, and they keep on doing it. Well, eventually they get to the point.
The spike goes away.
No, the spike moves to when he sees the shape. So now, the moment he sees the shape, the spike happens because he knows that's going to happen.
Right.
It's fascinating. So then he pulls the thing, he gets the thing. Well, then eventually they mess with him, of course, and they just stop giving him the juice when the thing happens, and then he gets angry, and then he's upset, and
he's flinging poop at everybody.
And then started like ripping people's faces off. It was actually pretty sad, They had to put
There's like 3 midgets that died.
They put Julio down, So they said what you have to do is that you can't. That what you have to do is replace bad habits, bad routines with good routines. But you have to stay within that loop of cue. So what's your cue? So the perfect example, I thought this was fascinating. Have you noticed that at a mall, Cinnabons are typically not in the food court?
I don't go to malls.
Well, they are. That's Michaela. Can you confirm? She confirms.
How many malls you been to? 3. 4.
4. She's been to 4.
Okay.
And Cinnabons...
Not the Marion Mall. Don't count that one. 3.
So 3. Apparently she's been to 3. But this is the case that most Cinnabons are just at a different wing of the mall. And so what they want is for their smell, because they know their smell is the trigger, is the cue. And so they want you walking down the hall or the aisle.
Who's they?
Cinnabon. And they want you smelling the Cinnabon before you can even see it.
Yeah.
Because when it's in the food court, there's 1,000 other smells for it to compete with.
What's the first smell you smell in the food court?
Whatever the Chinese place is.
Yes, I was just going to say, it's the Chinese place.
Yeah.
Their scent is stronger than the rest of them.
We went to the mall yesterday. Did we go yesterday? 2 days ago. Yeah. And ate in the food court.
Yeah.
And I got the Chinese food. It was really good. Got sesame chicken and teriyaki chicken. With the
chow mein?
So good. No, they just had rice. They didn't have chow mein.
I'm a big chow mein fan.
Of course. So then what happens is you smell the Cinnabon, and so you're reaching for your wallet even before you know it. You know what I mean? Like
I'm not reaching
you're
for my
already
wallet.
They've conditioned you to it to a point where if you don't get it, you're a little upset. You're a little disappointed. Like
I have that with the Starbucks.
Okay, so everybody's got different things. Yeah. So you smell Starbucks before you see it. They do that at malls too.
Yeah. So at Cedar Point or Kings Island, there's amusement parks here in Ohio, but there's a Starbucks at the entrance of the park for both of them. I mean, within 100, 200 feet.
Yeah.
It's not like right at the entrance. It's 100 yards maybe. And when you walk by it and the doors are opening and people are coming in and
they
out,
know what they're doing.
There's this whiff. I'm like, oh, man. I really need a coffee. If I don't drink this, my whole day is going to be ruined.
Right. Yeah. And that's the problem. And so what you need to do is you need to then insert something into. I mean, that's a one-time example.
Right.
But there are other things in your life.
Replace it with
like
something
when you
else.
walk by the box of donuts.
Yeah.
Don't grab a donut. Like there's something in you that's.
Wait.
I know. Right. There's something in you. There's
Why
a
would
habit.
I not want to grab the donut?
Exactly. There's a habit that says, I'm going to walk by and I'm going to grab that donut. And before I even know it, I'm eating something that I know I shouldn't be eating.
Well, the reward thing is a good thing because, we're at New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve, you're talking New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Like changing things, right? And every year I go through this cycle, and I think most of America does. Sometime around Thanksgiving, I stop caring about what I eat.
Sure.
Right? It's getting darker. It's getting colder. It's baking season.
I need to put on my winter weight.
And so I usually add 10, 15 pounds between Thanksgiving and
Then
Christmas.
January
which
hits,
is a lot.
You put on
if you
your-
think about 10 or 15 pounds,
Hey.
listen, this year I did it. I went from 196 to 206 before Christmas. And I haven't weighed myself since. I'm guessing it's over 210.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
That is a problem.
It is a problem. I need to be under 200. So me, along with most of America, will choose to diet.
Yes.
Eat better, exercise, whatever. The reward for me is stepping on the scale. There's something I don't understand. Triggers in my brain when I see the scale and I reach those milestones.
Yes.
When I go under 200, I get this like,
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. If you don't have the reward, the habit will not be long lasting. It won't be. It'll be too hard. So you have to create a reward for yourself in order for this thing to happen.
Right.
For the weight loss thing, they took a whole bunch of obese people and they got them in a room, which is hard to get a bunch of obese people
Just go to any Walmart.
in one room. So they put in
Right?
I always remember I saw this like list of like it was like church bulletin I don't know, faux pas or something.
Yeah.
And it was Overeaters Anonymous meeting in such and such a room. Please use the side double doors. Which I always liked that a lot. So anyway, they got all these people together who wanted to lose weight.
Right.
And they had this concept of small wins when it comes to habits. Like you need small wins. Small wins build and then create big wins, right?
Right.
And so they took this group of people, and then one group, they gave them a diet regimen that was like very complex and do this. And if they did it, they would have lost weight,
Yeah.
And these people, by their own admission, want to lose weight. And then the other people, all they told them to do is literally take this logbook and write once a day, more if you can, but once a day, write down what you're eating. And 80% of the people that wrote down what they were eating had significant more like weight loss than the other people did, because it was a small habit.
Intentional.
It was something that they could do,
Yeah.
and small habits build and create other habits.
Right.
It's really fascinating. So give yourself a small win, but always give yourself
Here's
the
thing.
blackberry
I've got
juice.
3 pies at the house.
Oh.
And I'm going to get through those 3 pies in the next 3 days.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not going to start this weight loss thing for at least another week.
Well,
You do this a lot.
here's the other interesting thing. So before like 1910, basically 90% of America did not brush their teeth. It just wasn't a habit that Americans had. And it was a real problem, like teeth decay, falling out, because now people are eating more sugar than they had ever eaten before.
Right.
And so the tooth issue is a big deal. Well, Pepsodent from like 1910 to 1960 was like the all-time greatest selling toothpaste of all time. So they bring this guy in, and he decides that he's going to create, and he didn't know he was doing it, but he's going to create this habit loop for them to sell their product. And so people didn't know they needed to brush their teeth. They needed a cue, right, to know that they're going to brush their teeth. So he pushes this word tooth film. So all of his advertisements is that Pepsodent will get rid of that whatever nasty tooth film. Everybody kind of knows that feeling. So use Pepsodent, get rid of. So the cue is tooth film. The routine is use Pepsodent. The reward is clean mouth.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Pepsodent did was they inserted cool, like minty flavors, which are not necessary. So that way you feel, that's part of the reward. Like, oh, I feel good. You know what I mean? It feels.
Minty fresh.
And so from that point, like they went from that point where like 10% of Americans were brushing their teeth, like literally 15 years later, 85% of Americans were brushing their teeth daily because of this one product. And did you know toothpaste and shampoo does not have to foam? Did you know that? They add foaming agents to it to make you feel like it's working better. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
not
I
crazy.
always thought
That's
the
not-
foam was a big deal.
No, that's not
I was like,
crazy
that
to
means
me.
it's working, right?
No, I've never thought that.
Well, there you go. Habits. And we're helping you. And you're hopefully, whatever maybe you're trying to stop smoking, maybe you're trying to start smoking,
Yeah.
Maybe you're like,
I need more cocaine in my life.
maybe, I don't know what you're trying to do.
Listen,
But-
you're an adult, right? Mm-hmm. You know what's best.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what the best thing is.
But in 2021, create a habit loop, get some small wins, and before you know it, 2021 is going to be the best year of your life. 2020, for a lot of people,
Not so great.
not a great year.
Yeah.
So we're going to look back on 2020. We're going to give the Mount Rushmore of 2020. So here's the thing with the Mount Rushmore is that it is
Iconic.
It is not necessarily like the Times always does a person of the year, which now is a complete joke, but there was a time when it was like really mattered. So
I think it's always been a joke. At one time it was Hitler.
Well, no, that's the point of the person of the year is it's not the best person of the year. It's the person that dominated the year the most. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a similar concept with Mount Rushmore of 2020.
Just iconic.
We're not saying the best things that happened in 2020. We're saying when we look back on 2020, what are the things we're going to think of?
Right.
So number one,
Tiger King.
Yeah,
I think it's Tiger King. I think it's maybe coronavirus.
Huh?
All of the
Corona what?
the Chinese virus.
The Wu flu.
Wuhan, yeah. Wu-Tang flu. And I think Tiger King and coronavirus will be.
Did Tiger King come out this year?
Yes.
It did?
Yes, it did. Yes, no, because here's the thing. It timed up perfectly with the quarantine. Everybody's in quarantine, and Tiger King comes on. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to watch Tiger King.
Okay.
You didn't watch it, did you?
No.
80% of America watched it. You should watch it.
I won't.
You should.
I won't.
You should.
But I won't.
Reward yourself.
That's not a reward.
It is a reward.
That looks like such a waste of time to me.
It's America.
Okay. It's a part of America.
It is a part of America.
Not the part of America that I'm interested in spending 10 hours with or whatever it is.
You go to Walmart and you're going to come across people who belong in the
I did
TV
just
series
binge
Tiger
the
King.
Waco series last week.
David Koresh.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
It's on Netflix. It's not a Netflix original. It says it's only on Netflix until January 18th. Or 15th or something like that. So
was it good?
Yeah. Michaela watched it with me.
Yeah.
It was fascinating.
I remember it.
Yeah, and so a lot of things that are happening, you remember. There's a lot of things you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
It's based on 2 books that people wrote. One of the FBI officers that were there, and then one of the survivors of it wrote books, and then they used that to make the TV show. I think it's 8 episodes, like 45, 50 minutes a piece, something
Documentary?
like that. Drama.
Okay.
Really good. Like super, I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, it's a bad ending.
Yeah.
Things don't
Tragic.
go well. Very tragic.
Yeah.
But, so I did binge that.
Okay, what else belongs on the 2020?
I would say the
election.
The election. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a big deal.
Which is not over, by the way.
Well, I'm not saying it's over. Did I say it's over?
No. It's not going to be over. January 6th is a big day.
Okay.
We won't.
We're not getting into that.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to talk politics.
But we will say, when we're talking about the Mount Rushmore 2020, we got COVID and the election.
And Tiger King. I'm putting Tiger King on it. I won't budge.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
We got one more thing.
What else happened in 2020? I mean, obviously the virus dominated everything. You know,
So
it affected everything.
I would say, I mean, it's just another negative thing, but the George Floyd thing, I think that was huge. I think people will remember that.
You think so?
I think so. I mean,
we're still in 2020, and I forget so many things. But that's me, too.
When did the Epstein stuff come out? Was that 2019 or was that 2020?
I don't know. Kobe Bryant died in 2020.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I feel like that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, but people die.
Wow.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people die all the time.
I think looking back, like 50, 60, 70 years from now, people will see Kobe Bryant died in 2020 like COVID. You know? They'll probably just assume it.
Like on the tombstone. Wow, 2020.
2020.
Wow, who knew?
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you see somebody died in, 1841, you're going to assume it was World War II, you know?
Yeah. Or 1917, Spanish bird flu.
Mm-hmm. There's an old Saturday Night Live skit where this is a long setup, but I'm sorry, where they have a game show where they have a teenager and then a regular adult, and the teenager is trying to feed the adult answers, trying to get them to guess things. And Dana Carvey is the teenager, and the adult is, I don't know, it's supposed to be like Janet Reno or somebody, I don't know. And he goes, and he looks at his card. He's trying to get her to say something. He goes,
this.
Civil War. And she's like,
He's trying to guess a year.
yeah, a year. Civil War. And she says, what?
Like 1856.
1856.
Yeah.
He's Civil War, and he just keeps on saying it. And it ends up being like 1925 or something like that. And I just love that because she's like, keeps on guessing. He's like, Civil War.
I remember that. That's pretty great. I think the George Floyd thing.
I don't like this. I'm the one that decided we should do the 2020 Mount Rushmore, but I want to ditch it. I'm not happy with it. It's just depressed me. Nothing.
I knew it was going
good.
to. Was 2020? What do you expect?
Listen, I had a pretty good year this year. What's a good year for me?
What would you put on it?
Personally?
No, the Mount Rushmore of 2020, not Dan's 2020.
Mandalorian was pretty good this year.
I mean, listen, season 2 of Mandalorian, pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it. Don't know if it belongs in the Mount Rushmore of 2020.
Okay. Well, I say we move on.
I got a Mandalorian record for Christmas.
I saw that.
Soundtrack, yeah.
How you like it?
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me this.
Okay.
It's one of the special records that are like coated with the graphic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The record feels really, really heavy to me.
Sure.
Like the weight of the physical record itself.
Yeah.
When I put it on my turntable and it spins, there's a little bit of a wobble.
Sure.
Now, it doesn't really affect the sound that much. You hear it maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I put on a lighter record, it doesn't do that.
Okay.
Have you noticed? Have you had this?
Well, heavier records are better. Like, they're just better quality. It's not necessarily the graphics that make it heavier. It's just a better record.
Okay.
The wobble, there should be... is your thing completely level?
Yeah.
There should be less wobble
For a heavy record.
For a heavier
yeah.
record than a lighter record. A lighter record would tend to wobble more, in my experience.
Yeah.
So I couldn't answer that. How do you have your balanced? Can you change the balance on your hand that drops, or is it just is what it is? Like when you drop it,
there's a little lever and it just drops itself.
But is there a counterweight that you can change?
Oh, there could be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That might be part of your issue too, because mine has a counterweight on the back of it.
Yeah.
That what you want is you want it to the point where it almost won't go down on its own, but it will.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is some of the older records, or the quality of the record is it's like thinner, it's not as good. You have to actually weigh it more, otherwise it won't like find it. But with the heavier records, because what you don't want it to be super heavy, because then it wears out the needle.
Skim the surface.
Yeah, you want it to barely touch and then just grab it and then pull it, which a heavier record is better. So I can't answer.
Okay.
Maybe did you look at the record and see if it was straight?
It looks straight to me.
Okay.
I don't know. It felt so much heavier than every other record I had.
Well, yeah, I've got like my, I've got a couple records. Like I have a Mumford & Sons one, which is a new one.
Oh, which one?
That Where Do I Turn
Delta?
To? Yeah,
Yeah, I love that record.
that's Woman.
Yeah,
that is a really good record.
love her with your heart, in your eyes, in your something. I love that.
You didn't get the words or
I
the
don't
melody
know.
right. I mean, nothing about that was right.
It's on the 42 Delta
Well, it is.
Mumford.
It's a heavy record. Like my Braveheart record is heavier, and these two records cost a little bit more. And I've noticed that the higher quality records. Now I've got some old crappy ones that you could tell that when they were just busting them out, and they're like paper thin. So the Mandalorian record, I was a little jealous of that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I sent it to you. I knew
Very cool.
you'd be jealous.
I still have Stranger Things, which is I think a little cooler.
Yeah. I mean, you're shaking your head, but you've never heard the Mandalorian soundtrack, so
Still, the Stranger Things record is awesome.
yeah, I'm a little jealous of that. I have the Kanye, Jesus is Lord.
Not
album.
jealous of that.
It's a great album.
Well, you're a guy that doesn't even. I mean, you just showed us everything you know about music, so. No.
Netflix, watch these shows with us. Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Netflix, watch these shows with us. Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Or maybe Amazon Prime
That's so
or
long.
something like that, like YouTube.
It might be the greatest thing I've ever done.
Put a box around what you
I mean, it
watch,
will be my
so
lasting legacy.
You never know.
Beyond your kids.
100 years from now, I'll still be remembered for that song.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark my words. Jason, what is your Netflix suggestion of the week?
So I may have done this before, but
That's
I've
all right.
watched this every night for the last 2 weeks.
Talk about habitual.
Yeah. Columbo. So on Peacock TV, they have every Columbo episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going through. I started season 1, episode 1. Now, up until now, I've hand selected my Columbos.
Yes.
I just scroll through and like, that looks interesting. I
Yeah.
like, we'll try that one.
Sure.
But I'm going to systematically watch them all.
Yeah.
And fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Columbo. It's my
What
favorite.
are the years of Columbo? Do you know what years it came
I
out?
don't know. It's in the 70s.
70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's I think it still holds up.
I believe it.
It was each episode's like an hour and a half.
Oh,
I mean, each episode's like a movie.
How many episodes are in a season?
It's not all the same, but about 8 to 12.
Wow.
And
that's a lot of work.
Maybe 8 to 10
What if
seasons.
those are based on books or anything, or if it's just...
I don't know. It's fantastic. So the kids are floating in and out of the room while I'm watching it. Teddy has kind of latched on to the fact that Columbo like always gets his man. Like
he does.
Every time.
Every time.
And so Teddy's been watching him with me a little bit. And he'll watch him for like half an hour and then leave and then maybe come back and maybe watch another half an hour. You know, he's not hardcore Columbo right now. But the other day, Teddy goes, in referring to the killer, the murderer, he's like, if I was just the murderer, I would just kill Columbo and then nobody would ever find me.
I mean,
that makes a lot of sense.
You should have Teddy looked at. Like, take him to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
he's thinking that through.
That's
though.
an early sign that things are not going to be well for him.
He's thinking that through. The guy that catches everybody. If
just kill that guy.
If I just kill that guy, then nobody's going to catch me.
That's very concerning to me. That he.
I like it. I like it. He's thinking. He's using his brain.
Okay.
I mean, he's 8.
So. Yeah, I know. That makes it even worse. You know what I mean?
No, I
if
think
he was 18, you'd be like, okay, it's kind of dark, but you know, you're 18, you've lived some life. I mean, at 8 years old, that he went straight to that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I've had the conversation with Harrison. Like,
does he torture cats ever? You ever see him like, you know, messing with cats?
We don't have cats in our neighborhood anymore.
Okay.
So Harrison has watched a couple with me. And, you know, we'll ask questions. I'm like, well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? And, you know, we'll kind of go back and forth on that. And a reoccurring theme in the Columbo is whoever's the murderer, they rat themselves out.
Always.
Almost always.
Yeah, just shut your mouth, man.
Just shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why I told Harrison, like, you just don't talk.
Listen, when and if you kill somebody.
Yeah. Don't say anything. Don't go to the police. Don't talk to them.
Yeah. You have a right to remain silent.
And do it. You don't have to say anything. They got no proof.
Yeah.
And every time Columbo, like the person that approaches Columbo and says, well, you know, what do you think happened? You know, well, that guy's the murderer.
Yeah.
And he sniffs it out. If you never talk to Columbo, he's never going to sniff you out.
We watch Blue Bloods, and there's always a element of detective work on that. And it's like, we've watched so many episodes that immediately we're like, that guy's a killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 100% that person. There's something not right with that.
So when you watch Blue Bloods, do you not know who the killer was?
No, yeah. They always leave you. They don't show it at the beginning.
So see, Columbo, the first part of every episode, they show the murder.
Oh, so you know who it is from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
Oh.
Even before Columbo gets on the scene.
Yeah. And so you're trying to help. Come on, man, like, see this.
Because he's a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. There's just one thing. It's just one more thing.
Yeah.
And his eyes are like, you know. But the last episode I watched, they're like 90 minutes. The first 30 minutes, Columbo's not even in it. It's just the story of the murder.
I like it. I like not knowing and finding out with the person. Because then you can guess and all that sort of stuff.
My other favorite show is Murder, She Wrote. It's also on Peacock.
And
so
also,
Murder, She Wrote and Columbo, Peacock.
Peacock is, Murder, She Wrote is twice as long as it needs to be every episode. I mean, it is.
And there's like 300 episodes.
There's a whole YouTube channel you got to find out. Is this girl, she breaks down episodes of Murder, She Wrote, like super breakdown of the episode. Like, and you would really enjoy it. It's this girl is obsessed with Murder, She Wrote.
I love Murder, She Wrote.
Well, the Murder, She Wrote song, the intro song, it might be 8 minutes long. It is so long.
It's longer than the Netflix.
It's a lot of her riding on the bike. Just a lot of Angela Lansbury on a
like
bike.
spiderweb stuff and yeah. What's your Netflix suggestion of the week?
Well, I had one, and then I remembered I watched Waco, so I think I might make it Waco.
Okay.
There's some language.
Yeah.
Some adult content. Obviously, it's about a cult.
Yeah.
You know, so
of course.
We're not, this isn't Paw Patrol here, you know. But it was super captivating, and so it happened in 1993. So I was 12 years old when it happened.
Yeah.
So I have like these faint memories of it, You know, like the fire coming out of the windows, or the FBI guys on top of the roof, like pointing in the window stuff. I mean, I have some faint memories, but this kind of like brought those back, and it was really interesting. Interesting also to see how, like, you see these people, and you're like, how could you? I think deceived into this. I mean, David Koresh was basically like, if you and your wife went into the convent, then now she was David Koresh's wife. Yeah. You know what I mean?
See, like, I've thought about it from...
Who's like, yeah, that's a good thing.
I thought of... You think about it from the people entering into...
You're trying to figure out, how can I do this?
Yes, I've thought that. Like, how does this guy get these people...
He's charismatic. I mean, he
But not just him. I mean, this happens over and over and over. Mm-hmm. Every couple of years, some cult leader has a group of people.
Yeah.
Like, how does this happen?
Yeah. Well, the Waco...
How is he doing... What...
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things.
Desperate people.
I think he's also, on some level, a sociopath. Like, that he just doesn't care about other people.
Yeah.
And so... I think that he has to have a level of, like, I'm going to pitch this to 100 people, 200 people, and one every like.
Oh, it's a numbers game.
It's and then he probably gets good at, like, locating this is a desperate person.
Right.
You know,
like the Marilyn Mansons of the world. They know exactly who to grab.
It's and some people just have that perception about people. They're very good at reading people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a natural thing. Maybe it's the way that they were raised or whatever, but they're just good at like weighing people from the very beginning. And I think that's the other thing that a cult leader has to be good at is, you have to be able to look at somebody and be like, this person is too mentally strong. There's no way I could convince them.
I'm not breaking that.
But this person,
although if you can break that mentally strong person, that'd be a great right-hand guy.
Well, then a big part of it is about his right-hand guy.
Yeah.
Steve.
Nobody ever talks about the right-hand guy.
Nobody talks about Steve, but without Steve, there is no Waco.
Yeah.
He's the one that really took it off.
So Steve's a good guy?
Well, you kind of root for Steve, but then again, Steve did some not so good guy things too.
Did Steve just innocently get caught up in the whole thing?
Maybe.
Or was he like, Michaela's shaking her head yes.
You think you're... She said his wife pulled him into it, which maybe, but he
blame
also
the woman.
But he also did this.
I like where your head's at.
He also, I mean, it's on him too, you know. The FBI is not. Some of the FBI is painted in a good light, and some of the FBI painted in a not so good light.
No, the FBI is horrible.
So
they're horrible people.
Broad brush.
I don't know who that is.
But so it's super compelling, and it's only up there until January 15th. So,
and then where does it go?
I don't know.
Is it Netflix original?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's Paramount, I think, original. So,
which is CBS?
I think it might be NBC because what's that Western with Kevin Costner? Yellowstone. Have you watched that?
No. It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock, and that's a Paramount thing too. So I watched the first episode of it.
Do you have CBS All Access?
Until today's my last day.
What?
I canceled it because Blue Bloods, we watched every Blue Bloods.
Okay.
So, I mean, now one comes out every week, but I'm not going to keep it just for that. Also, sadly, it's the way I watch Frasier. So that's a little depressing.
It's on Peacock, I think.
But I'm going to take January off of television. So my Netflix suggestions of the week might be kind of lame for the next month. I'll just have to pull off
books.
old ones. There's books. Just... I will turn on like YouTube ambient music.
Oh, I love that.
So I might just
Ambient Worlds.
Ambient Worlds is great. So I might just do a different one of those every week.
Your
so
YouTube.
Waco is probably my Netflix suggestion of the week, but my other one really quick would be a show called The Repair Shop on Netflix.
I've seen it, yeah.
I'm a big fan of The Repair Shop.
Yes.
I watched
great background TV.
It's wonderful. So it had released about a month ago, the new season, but I held off because I knew I was going to take a week off around Christmas time, and I knew I was just going to be sitting around. It's a wonderful thing just to have on, watch these things get repaired, great British accents.
Very calming.
Very calming. And it feels good to watch things get restored while you're deteriorating.
Yeah.
Deteriorating, that's a hard word to say. You're watching things get better, and that's a good feeling.
So, okay, that's good. There's a couple things. Do you have anything you want to talk about? Like,
I don't know.
Pending? I had this thought the other day. It was kind of a sad thought from a happy memory. As a little kid, one of my fondest memories is being in the back seat of a car as Mom goes through the drive-thru at the bank.
Because you're going to get a sucker?
You're going to get a sucker. And there was this massive thing that I remember of like trying to put your face up against the window as close to the teller.
So they can see that there's a kid back there.
There's a kid back here, and I want a sucker.
Yeah.
You know. And I had one of my kids with me the other day. I went through the bank drive-thru. They didn't even offer to give.
Really?
Yeah, my kid a
They
sucker.
still do it.
What bank do you go to?
United Federal Credit Union.
I go to Fifth Third.
There's your problem right there.
That might be the problem. I
That's
don't know.
not even a real fraction.
It is a fraction. It's more than a whole. It's a whole and a half.
It doesn't work. Fifth Third.
No, it's a total. No, you've got 3 parts. You got 5 of the 3. You have more than.
There's 3 parts. You
more
can't have
than enough.
5 of 3. You can only have 3 of 3. That's the most.
No, you can have 5 of 3. Michaela's shaking her head yes.
You're homeschooled. You have no idea what you're talking about. Listen, I know what she's learning, and she doesn't know.
Fifth Thirds. It's a thing. Anyways, it was a sad experience that my kid didn't get a sucker going through the drive, and they don't know. I mean, they weren't expecting a sucker.
Listen, at my bank, they'll even give you a doggy biscuit if you have a dog with you.
What?
You should change banks. I think I might get like a bonus or something.
I'll
if
split
you
it
come
with
over.
you.
No. Listen, you just get the benefit.
Nothing. No, you get nothing if I don't. If I don't switch, you get nothing.
I'm fine.
If I switch, you get what? $25?
I don't know.
I'll split it. You get something.
Listen, this is an.
You would rather have nothing. You would rather have nothing.
Yes, I'd rather
than have
nothing
half of something
and share it with you.
That's idiotic. I share half of all of my login stuff.
It doesn't work that. You don't get less because you share it with me, though.
I kind of do. Like emotionally, it's being drained from me. By the way, I need that CBS password.
I only have it for today.
I am gonna binge.
What are you gonna binge?
The Lower Decks.
Oh, Lower Decks.
I really want to watch.
I could try to give it to. I watch it through Amazon. But Lower Decks is good.
I really want to watch it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find a way to get it to you. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
Because I purchased it through Amazon.
Yeah.
So I watch CBS
you can't
Access
do that.
on Amazon.
Yeah. So I have a subscription now to Apple TV for a year.
Yeah, I do too because I got a laptop.
Yeah.
So
not a lot on it right now.
Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Not yet. Okay.
You're going to like Ted Lasso.
Okay, I'll watch it.
You're going to like it.
I'm sure I will. Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
Very good. And the intro music to Ted Lasso, Mumford & Sons.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it.
Jason, Fun Dip is the least pretentious candy. All candy, on some level, is just a way to get sugar to your body.
Yes.
And they give it to you in different forms.
That's true.
Fruity, chocolate.
Yeah.
Fun Dip is like, listen, we're going to give you a sugar stick and a pouch full of sugar.
And you dip it in sugar.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we know what you want. You know, we're going to stop playing around, give it to you in different forms, pretend, put it in shapes and all sorts of. We're just going to give you a pouch of straight sugar, a stick made out of white sugar.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, and you just dip it and eat it. It is basically like, whoops. That's our father. Or it's basically like just mainlining sugar. We know what you want. Let's not pretend you're trying to get something else. We're just going to give you sugar in a pouch and then a stick of sugar to dip it with. So when you're all done with your sugar, you can eat more sugar.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about Fun Dip.
In the last week, I have had 8 packets of Fun Dip. True story.
I don't remember the last time I had Fun Dip.
Yesterday for me.
That's funny.
So for Christmas,
I thought only like little kids ate Fun Dip.
No, I had 8 packets. In the last week, a week ago was Christmas. Mm-hmm. Everybody had stockings.
Yeah.
And in my stocking, I had some various candies that I'm not going to eat. Mm-hmm. One of them was like SpongeBob Krabby Patty, like gummy things.
Oh, those are the worst.
I don't want to eat that.
No.
So I traded it to one of my kids for their Fun Dip. Mm-hmm. And we made some trades. I ended up with Sour Patch Kids, Skittles, and Fun Dip. Mm-hmm. And I got rid of most of my chocolate.
Yeah.
And so I've been eating random packs.
We had a good
Dip.
thing going when we were kids because I like the chocolate and I
like
don't
the
care
fruity.
about those.
One of my favorite candies is Nerds Rope.
You like the Nerds rope?
I love the Nerds rope. Fantastic. Now, the Fun Dip, the stick is the most underrated candy out there.
Oh.
I love the stick.
It's a stick made of sugar.
I know. It's not just, there's something there.
Sugar. It's sugar.
No, there's
That's
something
what your
else.
body
There's
wants,
something-
and it's giving it to
it's
you
the reward.
in the purest form.
Yes.
Listen, let's just finish all this sugar, and then you can have some sugar.
Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the Fun Dip and I'll just sugar into my mouth.
Yeah.
And then I'll take the stick and I'll just like
Nibble on the stick.
nibble on the stick and kind of just savor the stick.
That stick is like a denser, bigger candy cigarette.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
When's the last time you had a candy cigarette?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, years.
My friend Brandon and I,
Yeah.
when we were in Myrtle Beach, we found some fake cigarettes.
We found some real cigarettes.
Found some real cigarettes, and they were toy cigarettes, and they had a powder in them.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't candy, but you could you could like,
And what, you're 10, 12?
yeah, something like that. So
Yeah.
we're walking down the boardwalk doing this, like,
Yeah.
with these, and we just felt like we were kings, like,
Kings of the boardwalk.
We so much wanted someone to be like, "Hey kid, you can't smoke," and be like, "This is fake, dude."
Joke's on you.
You're so lame, boomer. Although that wasn't a thing back then, but
That's pretty funny. Yeah. It's I love candy.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It is a Wonderful Life.
Did you watch It's a Wonderful Life this year?
I didn't. Shelby hates It's a Wonderful Life.
Listen, we've talked about that. It's the best Christmas movie there is, and it makes me well up every time.
Do you watch it in black and white or color?
Black and white. That's not even. Why would you watch it in color?
Well, they have it available for
I
both.
know they do, and they shouldn't.
I think anything that was originally made in black and white should stay black and white forever. Don't go back and recolor it.
Pretty racist.
Someone tried to tell me that before color TV, people dreamed in black and white.
I believe that.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe they exclusively dreamed in black and white.
Well, that's what they said.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But you think people would dream in black and white?
I think sometimes. I think if you're watching a black and white TV all day.
Have you ever dreamed in black and white?
I've dreamed in 2D.
Flat. Like you're watching a TV.
You just kind of
Like you're 2D? Like you can't
Like
move.
I'm in a 2D world.
Yeah.
And I can only go 2 different ways. I guess 4 different ways.
Up 4.
Yeah.
Or diagonal would be.
Yeah.
You just can't go dimensionally.
Yeah, no
this way.
depth.
No depth.
It was weird.
Yeah. I remember in a Batman cartoon, they said that you can't read in your dreams. Which is false, because I can read in my dreams. They said the left and right part of your brain does different things. And reading is one part and dreaming is the other part.
But
And
you
they
say
don't
you
cross
can
over.
read in your dreams?
Oh, many times I've read in my dreams.
I don't remember if I have or not. I'm going to have to think about that.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is Dan signing off for Jason, reminding you to always keep your stick on the ice and never wear the blue sweats.
Sit, Boo Boo, sit. Good dog.
I have spoken.